Hi everyone, welcome to the part 2 of our lesson in Statement of Financial Position. Now, we're going to discuss the element of the Statement of Financial Position. So the SFP is a report based on the accounting equation, which is the assets is equal to liabilities plus owner's equity. So tatandaan po class that this is the basic accounting equation. Okay, so the assets must be equal to liabilities and owner's equity. So the most student either endearingly refer to the accounting equation as ALOE. So the A stands for assets, while the L stands for liabilities, while the OE stands for owner's equity. So it was once called as a balance sheet because the sum of assets should be balanced to the sum of the liabilities and equity. So that's the reason why we call it as a balance sheet. Okay, the assets must be balanced to the sum of liabilities and equity. So the SFP is balanced as a consequence of double entry accounting. Now, let's proceed. What is assets? So when we say assets, these are the resources with future benefits that are within the control of the company. So these resources are classified into assets account based on its future use to the company. So tatandaan po, ang assets po sa isang company or sa isang business is a resources that these are resources that can benefit the company. So pwede po siyang gamitin para gumawa ng isang produkto or pwede po siyang isang bagay na kung saan magagamit sa isang company. So these are many kind of assets and this module will only focus to the following assets. So ito po yung example ng assets na meron sa isang company or sa isang business. Example, first, we have the cash. We have also the receivable. We also have the inventory. We have also the prepaid expense, the property, plant, equipment, and the intangible assets. So let's explain it one by one. When we say cash, cash is money owned by the company. So very simple definition. Okay, ito po yung pera na meron ng isang kumpanya. Okay? So the cash kept in the company premises is called cash on hand, while the cash in bank refers to the money in the bank which can be kept in a savings or checking account. So we have two kinds of cash in a company. We have the cash on hand. Ibig sabihin, hawak talaga mismo natin yung pera. Or yung pera na yon is nasa company, nasa lugar ng company. While yung cash in bank naman, ito yung mga pera natin na nakalagay sa bangko. Okay? Kaya tinawag po na cash in bank. So, generally, time deposit is not categorized as a cash. So, the cash on hand includes the bills, coins, bank checks, kept on the premises of the company. So, tatandaan po, ito po yung mga pera natin, including the bills, coins, and checks, as long as nasa lugar siya ng company natin. So that is cash. While the receivable naman, we have account receivable and notes receivable. So first, let's define what is receivable. So general term that refers to the company right to collect or claim payments. So the right to collect comes from unpaid sales or lending activities. So every time na magkakaroon tayo ng isang negosyo, there's a time talaga na may mga customers or may mga tao na hindi agad-agad na makakabayad sa atin. But then, when we say accounts receivable, we already perform the service or we already give the goods, okay, or the product to the people or to the customer or clients, but then they didn't pay us the money that we give to the money that we perform the service and the product that we give to them. Okay, so dito tinawag po siyang assets because we already give the product or the service, and we are hoping now we can get a money in the future. Kaya natawag po siyang accounts receivable. Next, we have the inventory. So the inventory accounts report the cost of unsold merchandise. So the inventory accounts of a trading business contain merchandise held for sale. So inventory can be an asset because these are the resources that that is not already sold, and this can be used to make a new product or to continue the production of a company. Okay. Next, we have the prepaid expense. So the prepaid expense refers to the future expenses that the company had paid in advance. So already, dito, we already paid the expenses in advance. Okay, kaya tinawag po siyang asset. So it is placed in this account until the service or items are used and become expenses. So this prepaid expense can turn into expenses once na nagamit na natin siya or na-use na natin yung service or yung items. Okay? We also have the property, plant, and equipment. So the property, plant, and equipment, or the PPE for short, are the long-term assets that are used in the operation of the company. So tandaan po, ito po yung mga long-term assets natin, and these are the plant, property, equipment that can be used to operate the company more than a year. So these are classified as a long-term asset or non-current assets because these assets will be used in the business for more than 1 year. We also have the intangible assets. So intangible assets are long-term assets similar to PPE. So these assets will be used in the business for more than 1 year. For example, of intangible assets are, we have the logo, we have the saying, we have the colors, we have the packaging that we design. We also have the copyright and etc. So those things are intangible assets na kung saan they don't have physical that can be touched. Okay, there also no body, there's no smell or we cannot taste it, but these assets can help the business. It helps to operate the business, okay? And that is intangible assets. Now we proceed to liability. So liabilities are the obligations that the company is required to pay. So sometimes, class, there is a tendency talaga na magkakaroon tayo na dapat babayaran natin. Okay, there are times na we don't have enough money to pay the other supplier or to pay the other entity. So ang ginagawa natin is nagkakaroon tayo ng utang or nag-uutang tayo. So these are obligations that we need to pay for another company. Okay, so the payment for liabilities can be cash, goods, or service. So we can pay na buong pera, we can also give our good, or we can also give our service. So that is a kind of payment. So now we will focus to these liabilities. We have the payables, the accrued expenses, the unearned income, and the long-term liabilities. Now we proceed to the first liability, which is the payable. So the opposite of the right to collect is the obligation to pay. Okay, so receivables are the right to collect payment from the debtors, while the payables are obligation to make payment to creditors. So these payables is also have two kinds, which is the accounts payable and notes payable. So dito, class, accounts payable, these are liabilities that we need to pay, okay, for another company. Okay, so parang wala, we just need to pay. Okay, so we already receive the items from other company, or we already received a service from them, but we didn't pay them for that product or for that service. So we need to pay them. Kaya tinawag po siyang payable. Okay? So it is a liability. It is our obligation to pay for that product or service that we receive. And while we say notes payable naman, it is same with accounts payable, pero itong notes payable is gumamit po ng notes. Ibig sabihin, nagsulat po siya. For example, ako si Miles Quezada, nangangako na babayaran si ABC Company for the service that they rendered to my company. And yun, nakasulat. May kasulatan na nangyari. Okay, that is the difference between accounts payable and notes payable. Now we have the accrued expense. So the accrued expense refers to the unpaid expense of the company as the cut-off date of the statement of financial position. So there are many kinds of accrued expense. We have the salary payables, the utility payables. We also have the rent payable and the interest payable. So when we say accrued expense, ito po yung mga expenses ng isang company that na hindi natin nabayaran in the cut-off date of the financial position. So since expense siya, okay, so expense po siya tapos hindi natin nabayaran, of course, that is a liability for the company. Next, we have the unearned income. So the customer deposit or down payment or customer payment received before the delivery of goods or service. So this will not count as sales until the deliveries are made. These payments are initially recorded as unearned income or liability payable in goods or service. So dito po, the customer or the client is already give deposit to the company as a payment for the product or service that they are going to receive. But then, since our company didn't give the delivery goods or service, we call it as an earned income. So we have the liability to the customer or to the client to give the product and service that they need or they want. Next, we have the long-term liabilities. So the long-term liabilities refers to the obligation with due dates that fall more than 1 year from the date of SFP. So when we say long-term liabilities, it is a non-current liabilities wherein these liabilities must be paid more than a year. So example po nito, we have the bank loan, okay? Now, we proceed to the owner's equity. So the equity is the net assets of the business. So it is composed of the owner's investment and the accumulated net income of the company, net of any distribution to the owner. So the owner's equity is the total account or the total amount of the owner investment. Okay, ito po yung total investment ng isa pong owner. So it reflects to the portion of the assets that belong to the owners of the business. So now we proceed to the statement of financial position of a service company and a merchandising company. So the main difference between the statement of the two types of business lies in the inventory account. So the service company has supplies inventory classified under the current assets of the company, while the merchandising company also supplies inventory classified under the current assets of the company. So the business has another inventory account under its current assets, which is the merchandise inventory ending. So now we talk about service company. So when we say service company, they don't have a physical product na binibigay sa isang customer or sa client. Okay, they just give a service to the clients. While the merchandising company, there is a product that produced by the company. Okay, so that is service company and merchandising company, wherein ang pinagkaiba lang dito is they need to make different inventory or the statement of financial position, tapos magkaiba yung inventory account na gagawin nila. Okay? And that will be the all for the first lesson in statement of financial position. And please don't forget to read the modules to be and understand it. Okay, so for your first activity, okay, you need to answer the following problems and make sure to write the solution in a one clean piece of paper. So dito class, you need to solve the problems that I give in your activity in your module. So these are this is example of the problem. So number one problem, if assets are 7,000 pesos and the owner's equity is 10,000 pesos, liabilities are blank. So you need to answer it. Please put your answer in the blank, then give a solution. So bakit ganun yung naging answer mo doon sa problem na yon? Okay, so that will be the all. I hope you gain something. I hope you gain knowledge about the statement of financial position. If ever na medyo naguguluhan pa kayo about the topic, please don't hesitate to contact me in my Gmail and in my Messenger. That will be all. Thank you, everyone.